off of. Even to this day, you look at the structure of our buildings, you can see that there's always on all the main blocks, there's a larger group of row housing. And then behind those houses, you have smaller houses. And a lot of people just think, oh, well, this is just, because of the avenues. No, this is also because of slavery. The main houses were the master's houses, and behind it were the so-called indentured servants slash employees slash maids and servants and slaves. So this is where even our city even became what it became. So as time went on and, Europeans began to move away from the inner city of Philadelphia, we were left. And as change began going from one type of work to factory work and textiles, manufacturing, more people from the South started to come into Philadelphia. This began the Great Renaissance. And I say all of this to say just a little history for those who may not know some of these histories. My mother, coming from North Philadelphia, she was one of those people who had to join into the protest. And in those protests, she was chased by dogs. She was hit with clubs. She was sprayed with hoses and everything else that you can think about. And at that time period, going to jail was something honorable. Going to jail was something that, especially if it was for the fight for your rights, for the fight for your preservation of yourself and like kind.
They would do it.
Many people at that time period, because people get the stigma of thinking, oh, American blacks, they're criminals, they always go to jail, they love jail. No, let's understand that most of the things that we do is a culture, and that culture from the beginning has been established where some of us do and have an idea of what's supposed to be done and have a certain mind state only because it has been charged in our culture, socially engineered in our culture. And so we are the babies of what they made. We are the babies of, whether you say the American dream or the American nightmare. For us, it's been a nightmare. And so I can honestly say, like, from her being part of those protests, from her being part of the Black Panthers, from her being, and let's not forget that within our city, people such as Commissioner Frank Rizzo had them come out naked. This is the type of brutality that used to happen at that time period. Her time period, right before I was born, had them come out naked and would shoot at the headquarters. And then afterwards, he became mayor. And that statue that you see, if you look at those pictures of the statue that's spray painted in front of City Hall when Philadelphia rioted yesterday, that statue that's spray painted is a Frank Rizzo. And Frank Rizzo was a stone cold racist. His thing was brutalizing people to the point where, now let's fast forward to my birth. My birth going into the 80s is when he was now no longer police commissioner. At that time period, he still had some say so, but now they did something which a lot of people mention about Obama, which is they placed a black face to calm down a lot of the racism that's taken place. Our blackface was Mayor Wilson Good. Now, during his administration, still underneath the dictatorship of Frank Rizzo, there was two things that happened that I watched and experienced. Down the street from me, there was a group called The Move. And The Move were people who, they lived on 33rd Street. Everything in which they did was natural. It was holistic. It was, we can live off of the land, even though we're not living in, the forest area. We're living in this city. But everything that we do, we live off of the land. If we have to take some of the electric from the lamp post, we're going to do that to take care of our neighborhoods. If we're going to take some of the hydrant water from the fire hydrants, we're going to do that. So we know what happened. All of their houses, which they occupied at least one city block on 33rd Street, growing up, they were shot at. They were shot at until they had to move to 60th Street. Now, 3 years later, while they were at 60th Street, Frank Rizzo, but still the black mayor, Wilson Good, is blamed for dropping a bomb on the city and killed everyone in that particular neighborhood. Killed everybody. This is police. The police dropped a bomb on a neighborhood city. So this is what I watched growing up. And not only that, I have cousins who were beat to death by police in Philadelphia.
So would you say that police brutality is more worse now than it was 30 years ago or 40 years ago?
I would say that in regards to what's happening now.
Yeah.
At that moment in time, we have to remember, as being racism was openly seen, which means that there was no gentrification in regards to our neighborhoods. A black neighborhood was a black neighborhood. Then they created buffer zones starting from the 1960s where people of Caribbean descent, people of Haitian descent, people of Jamaican descent, Puerto Rican descent began to immigrate and come into these particular parts of the city. And every United States city where that became the brown section, you will find that no matter where you go to LA, you will find that you will have the black side and you will have the brown side, and then after that you will have the white side. And that's to keep the whites and the blacks separated. No matter what city you go to, you will find that was the original way of every neighborhood of the major cities of Philadelphia, major cities of the United States. So my thing, so
I'm gonna have to speed you up just a little bit simply
yes,
because we are going up to an hour. You've got literally, I could sit here and watch you talk facts and knowledge like all day, but
yeah.
you know,
So
there's
I
people
would say,
that do want to jump in as well, and you know,
yes.
thank you so much for everything that you've given us today. And I'm hoping that some people in here have taken on board what you said, because it was pure knowledge, you know, from someone that's had first-hand experience.
Let me say this just before I leave.
Please
The
do.
things some of the things that you're seeing though, right? And I don't want there's a statement that everyone knows and they've been reposting this. Don't let them trick you out of your position. Don't let them trick you out of a position that is rightfully yours. The things, the feelings that you have, even for myself, being a person the NAACP sued the police districts for. My situation placed many districts underneath indictment and calls for fruits of a poisonous tree because of the police corruption, and calls for many people to come home from prison that also was part of those police corruptions that caused many people to go to jail for crimes that they've never committed. So don't let them trick you out of your position. The protests are a good thing. To speak for the rights and the justice is a good thing. And those who are from the cities, and love these cities that we come from, meaning not the brick and mortar, no, not the actual government, and no, we're talking about love the culture of what we created. And so therefore we live here. We've never destroyed our own cities. So that don't let that part fool you when they say, why do you burn down your own? We've never burned down our own businesses because the businesses was ours. The mom and pop stores was ours. And no one came into our and starting these riots are not from us. And I'm not saying this as some type of ostracizing. I'm saying that these people, there's agents. There are people who are coming into our cities, and I know them personally. I mean, not when I say personally, I mean some of the people I've watched on IG and recognize that, oh, you're up here too, and recognize this is not your city, so why are you protesting in our city? And later on, recognize that, oh, so because of this now, we're on a curfew. Our city is now on a curfew based on actions which is not originated from us. Now, there are some people who are ignorant in regards to it, so they will follow what's going on, and so the masses will follow what falls into place. The origination is the blame, and the origination, the seeds that was planted, does not come from us. We have not burnt down our own, and we have not destroyed our own, and we have not caused for our own oppression. Okay. These are situations that's done from outsiders, and they have their own agenda. I just wanted to leave with that one, and I just wanted to come from a personal place, a personal experience that I'm sure that nobody can sit there and mention, of having bones broke by police and all of the different things in which I've had done. And for all those who want to hear the story and want to continue listening, then you know I have a radio show, I have a podcast, and based off of this curfew, we've been, you know, we haven't been at the station because of this, but we will continue and we will push for more social justice and more rights and more blackness. And blackness is something which is all inclusive. As long as you do not have the mentality of the oppressor, that's what we talk about when we talk about white. It's not about skin color. It's about, are you of those who have established the system and calls for the system to have their foot on the people's neck until they die? And that's what we saw with George Floyd. Peace to artists on these comments. Love black people.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was a lot. A lot in a sense where it was a lot. We were taken through history. We were given his personal accounts, even his mother's account, from her being alongside Dr. King. She was an activist herself. So it was like, and he is in Philly at the moment. So it was like we were able to get a little bit of some feeling as to how the Americans are feeling, even though we haven't spoken to quite a lot of them. Just hearing an account from one of them, I think I'll take one more. Just one more, if you guys want it. If you guys want it, I'll take one more. But yeah, I'm gonna take one more. I will take this one, Faith and Brightness.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for adding me. I'm Imani. I'm American.
Hey, nice to meet you, Imani.
Yeah, so when the pandemic and everything started, I was in Jamaica and I was living there for like 4 months, and then I came back to America, and like the energy is just totally different.
So whereabouts are you based?
So right now I'm in Arkansas.
Okay.
Little Rock, Arkansas, which they had like a huge protest last night as well. But I was living in Atlanta before as well. So I just kind of see like, different states and different countries. And it's just, it's disheartening, and it's very hurtful to see. But I just want to speak to what the young lady from the UK was saying. We come from a very holistic, spiritual background. Our ancestors were very, very spiritual.
Yeah.
When the colonizers broke into those pyramids, what did they see on the walls? They saw how to read the stars, how to farm, how to make rain come, how to make crops grow, how to liberate, how to enslave. So you would be a fool to not think that they use that today. So I really think a solution would be for Black people to really get back into yourself and get back into spirituality, because and then with health, like if we're still on our colonizers' diet, we're still gonna have our colonizers' mind.
Exactly.
So yeah. So and then so I have so much that just goes through my head, but I want to read something from an African author, Laila Afrika. So I'm gonna read that. Give me 1 second. So I just want to read this. It might give people some insight. Africans must keep in mind, you do not protest, vote, demonstrate, or march to get rid of a mental illness, racism. Mental illnesses require therapy. When Blacks do not believe psychotherapy is needed to treat Caucasians with racism, It indicates that the African has codependent addiction to white supremacy. Africans cannot overlook China's mental illness called heroin addiction, which was treated successfully. The mentally ill either got treatment or were killed. Needless to say, they were 100% successful in solving China's mental illness drug problem. Britain forced heroin on China, which resulted in the 1839 Opium War. So I just think it's important to keep that in mind and just know, racism it's passed down through DNA, just like trauma is passed down through our DNA.
That was such a powerful reading. And I hope that, everybody that was tuned in, look in what you said. I had to look down and close my eyes to kind of take in what you were saying in order for me to process it. But that was a powerful kind of comparison as to, what we are experiencing in today's day and age.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for giving me, a chance to, because I've been speaking out a lot. And me personally, I just think a lot of this is planned, like it's planned. They want people to, be destructive. They want people to be angry and, because Black people, we are light beings. We're light beings. And we...
Sorry to cut you off. I've got 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, love to everybody. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You are amazing. I love watching you. And love to everybody. We're going to be okay. Look to your ancestors and tap in.
That's the cue. Guys, the time has gone so quickly. So quickly. But thank you so